Good morning and Assalamu alaikum. You're tuned into Inspire FM 105.1 FM. It's Friday, 13th of December, and the time has now just gone 10 o'clock. Welcome to Mother's Planet, a show where there is always something to talk about in a productive and beneficial way. I'm your host, Neelum, and joining me in the studio this morning is my lovely guest, Shemiza. Assalamu alaikum. Now, I'm sure many of you are familiar with Shemiza's lovely voice, but I will get her to formally introduce herself a little later in the show. But first, salams and welcome to the show.
It's an absolute treat to be here. Thank you so much, Neelum, for inviting me to your absolutely wonderful show.
No, Shemiza. It's an honour having you here, and I feel like I need to sort of live up to a certain standard now talking to you. So
there is no standard. It's all about the happy vibes.
Yes, I'm going to try because you're buzzing this morning.
Shemiza's been having coffee yet.
Yes, exactly. I think she's spilled half of it, but not drinking any of it. So Shemiza, how's the week been?
It's been interesting. Thank you so very much for asking me. It has been quite interesting, and just as always, mum on the run, getting kids ready, and off to school.
Yeah, and I've had quite a tough week because the cold of the weather has hit the kids, and I've had a few that have been poorly, so they've been at home, and I keep thinking they're sort of pulling. I'm like, I don't know, I'm not sure. They're pulling wool over my eyes. I'm not quite sure if they're really unwell. But yeah, they are. And so I've had them at home, and it's been quite hard really because they're a bit helpless. It's, I don't want to give them like the antibiotics. I'm a real old school mum. I like to try and ride it out for as long as possible, but home remedies is the way forward for me. So yeah, my mum was telling me about the beers and soups, so I need to get some of that today in them. So inshallah, they'll get better. Yes, that's it. Yeah, she's like, get that and put a bit of pepper in there, extra pepper, so it really hits their throat. And so yeah, I will have to get doing with that tonight, so getting them in that. But yeah, it's a bit horrible when they're unwell, but I'm kind of glad it's now because we've got the last week of term next week, and so then hopefully over the holidays they can sort of just be normal and work out. Yeah, energy. Exactly.
And they'll always wake up very early.
Oh, I know. What is that about? I'm still trying to work that out. On the weekends, I try and tell my youngest, because she is a monster getting up in the morning. She does not get up. And in the weekends, I say to her, it's a weekend, so you can have a lie-in. And she's up earlier than she is in the weekday. I'm like, what's wrong with you? She's obviously got her biology clock the wrong way around. I need to try and work it out so that she can get up earlier in the week. So listeners, we are live on air, reaching out to all our listeners in Luton and surrounding areas through the airwaves at Inspire FM 105.1 FM. We can also be heard on TuneIn via the Inspire FM webpage. The show is also being streamed on the Inspire FM Facebook page, where you must give the show a thumbs up and also can share any comments on today's topic. Or have a rant about the weather, or poorly children, whatever it is that you want to share with us, you can share with us there. And as always, I am taking in WhatsApp messages on the studio number 0779 481 822. Now, without further ado, in today's show, my guest Shemiza and I will be talking about a project that's open to the women in the community. Walk a mile in her shoes. Now, this flyer has been circulating because it's in quite a few of the groups that I'm in, so it has been circulating around Luton. So I'm sure many of the listeners that tuned in this morning are aware of it, but don't know that much about it. So inshallah, today we will be unfolding this project, and Shemiza will be sharing what's the thoughts behind the project and why the project is there. But before I delve into my questions and put Shemiza on the hot seat, can I, Shemiza, please get you to introduce to those listeners that have not had the pleasure of hearing your voice or about you?
So I'm Shemiza Rashid, and I actually host the Urban Talk Show, which is every Monday from 10 to 11 o'clock, and that's always art and lifestyle. Now, I'm somebody that's very passionate about art and creativity. I'm a creative and cultural producer, a audio drama maker, a published writer, former teacher, and also work in theatre as well, right, the theatre. So I I do a lot of audio art. And what audio art is basically creating an artistic piece which has audio attached to it, but the audio stems from the journeys of people, everyday people. And some of those stories will be around impact, about social injustice, or it could be about the living cost crisis, or it could be issues impacting women. I'm very much interested in the lives, or the lived experiences of working class women, and in particular mothers. So a lot of my projects, or what I'm noted for, is the way I use innovative technology, and the way I add stories to, for example, a QR code attached to a tin of food. So, which was quite an intriguing concept. People didn't kind of fully understand what I was trying to do until they saw it, and they were like, wow.
Yeah.
So this was a project on the living cost crisis, and it was called Trolley Tales, and I've gone into a food bank for, should have been about 4 weeks, but I ended up going 6 weeks, or 6 weeks to, say, 4 months, because I was so taken aback by the work that was being done at Hot Girl Community Centre, and there was this food bank that was initiated by the actual one lady, and she just got lots of free food supplies to give to as many people as that needed it. And it was the actual volunteers who just piqued my interest. And then I went in and asked their stories, and then we attached those stories on a tin, which was bespoke labels created by the wonderful Era, who is a digital artist. And it was using a QR code, scan it, QR code and scan it, and listen to the stories on the tins. So I had 100 tins with about 50 stories, and those tins had bespoke labels, and they were put into trolleys in the actual town, Luton Mall, which is called Luton Point right now, and you could hear the stories of these individuals who were impacted by the crisis. So that's just like one example of the work that I do, and alhamdulillah, it's been extraordinary because I have organisations who come up to me and say, look, we want to kind of reach, spread our message. We don't know how to make people more engaged in what we want to deliver. So as an artist, that's what my role is to kind of be that bridge.
Yeah, yeah. Amazing. And I'm told you, I have I'm in awe, in total awe here. Shemiza has many roles, and you are doing fantastic in the community. And this particular project it really caught my eye actually when you shared it with me. I thought, wow, it's amazing. I particularly like the poster. I do like the shoes. But Shemiza, there's one pair of shoes that is very well known to mums, and it's missing on there. The flip-flops. I couldn't see the flip-flops.
We have a worksheet which will allow you to put your particular shoe on in the project. Now, Safe on the Lines Walk a Mile in the Shoes is the whole purpose really about this is the experiences of women impacted by antisocial behaviour. Right. So walk a mile in her shoes is women walking a mile from, say, in Luton or Dunstable or Bedfordshire, because this is going across 3 places. And it's showing what they have identified as antisocial behaviour and how it impacts them and how it's impacted their journey, or how it's kind of maybe deterred them to go out. Now, for me, enabling and empowering people is really, really important. And being outdoors is just so refreshing.
Yeah.
But some of those are just stuck in our cars, and we don't really walk as much.
Yeah.
So, the purpose of this is it's a series of workshops led by myself and my wonderful colleague Joanne Hudson-Nett, and we're going to have invited guest speakers in attendance, and it's just about taking what's across our local areas and sharing the stories of how antisocial behaviour has impacted you, and see your thoughts turned into a digital exhibition.
Wow.
So that's
her in the shoes. I mean, what was the thought process when you were putting this together? What was the thinking behind this? You know, what made you why walk in her shoes, walk a mile in her shoes?
It's our journeys as women.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been quite fascinated about our personal life stories and the journeys that we've had. So it's kind of like there's an element of, it's quite metaphorical in a way as well.
Yeah.
And it's just a play on words. Now here is quite a serious subject as well. It's about that journey, coming across people who might not make us feel uncomfortable, might not make us feel comfortable around antisocial behaviour. And also I'm just finding out what is it that stops us from walking out.
So, I mean, you say antisocial behaviour, you know, and it's quite a broad thing. We've had this week, you know, many of the sportswomen have been wearing the badge, in mark of women that have suffered from domestic violence and any form of abuse. So, you know, antisocial behaviour, just to break it down a little bit for the listeners, you know, what is it that you are tapping into?
And it's a really important question because people hear it, like the ASBORs, that's the word that they hear, but they don't know what it means. And I think this is a project of actually getting people to fully understand it and how they can get support for it. So antisocial behaviour, it's kind of defined as behaviour by a person which causes or is likely to cause harassment, alarm or distress to a person, not of the same household of the person. And there's like something called the Antisocial Behaviour Act 2003, and Police Reform Social Responsibility Act 2011. I mean, what does it actually mean and how do we classify it? So it takes many forms. You've got from aggressive, noisy, or abusive behaviour to neighbourhood disturbances involving drugs, abandoned cars or animals. And, you know, these categories are, and depending on how many people are affected, you've got personal antisocial behaviour, which is when a person targets a specific individual group. Nuisance antisocial behaviour is when a person causes trouble, annoyance, or suffering to a community. And environmental antisocial behaviour is when a person's action affects the wider environment, such as public spaces or buildings. And then under these main headings, they fall into 13 different types.
Yeah.
So there's so many different categories.
Yeah, and it's trying to address them all. I mean, and I guess, you know, I mean, I'm going back to my parents' generation time when, you know, my dad was at work, so mum was out doing everything. You know, mum was dropping us to school, mum was getting the shopping, and, you know, she was on her feet most of the time. And, you know, alhamdulillah, we were quite well located where we lived. We were quite near the town, so, you know, I remember pushing the supermarket trolleys all the way home, because at that time you could, you know. Now they've obviously got these magnetic wheels where they only go to a certain distance, but, you know, we used to, so we were always out, you know, out and about, and I never felt, threatened but, you know, now that I'm growing up and I've had children, and even as the years have gone on with my children, it's quite different now being outside.
It sure is. It sure is.
And it's, you know, and it can be, you know, I think the feisty me, you know, back in the days used to stand up and say, look, you know, because I felt very protected over my children. And now that my children are older, it's funny, it's like the roles are reversed. They sort of feel protective over me, and that mum don't say anything, just carry on walking, mum. And I'm like, oh, yeah, you know, and you don't want to cause any trouble, but you sort of want to set these people right as well. Like, you know, the mother in me comes out, and, you know, you do want to, you know, but it's quite an intimidating environment.
Exactly.
You just don't want to be out there.
Exactly, and this is what the whole project is about. It's about what is it that's intimidating, what parts of the town that makes you maybe want to cross the road or avoid. What are the issues impacting you when you walk, you know, across this one particular road? And it's just identifying those and then bringing those ideas together, because it's actually fact-finding and then turning that into a creative piece.
Yeah.
And I thought the quirkiest way to do that was associated with shoes.
Yeah.
So, like, I'd be taking a picture of somebody's shoes, and then that story of that lady would be turned into maybe some creative writing, and then we'd attach that to an audio and attach it on a QR code to that picture of that shoe. So the lady's voice can be heard, and you get to see her shoe and what is her story behind the shoe. So trying to make it interesting. That's the key word. To make it interesting and intriguing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a shoe lover. I love shoes. I think I've condensed my shoes down as I've aged. But every shoe that I have tells a story. And when I wear it, and it's funny because as soon as you put on a pair of shoes, you sort of automatically go into a different role. So, when you put your trainer on, I'm in that sports mode. I'm going to be quick, fast, what have you. And I can see Shemiza handing me over a picture of loads of shoes here. Yeah, and I think I possess pretty much all of these. Yeah. I know, actually, yes. Actually, if we can, actually, there we go on the camera, all the different shoes that we have here. I must say, though, as I've got older, I can't do the stilettos anymore.
No.
The stilettos are just not me anymore. I'm trying my best to get back into them, but the balance isn't there like it used to be. And so, but yeah, every time you put on a pair of shoes, and depending on the type of shoe that you put on, you sort of fall into a role, and so I've got my glitzy sandals, and which only come out at weddings and parties. But as soon as they come out, I'm a mum, but I'm almost a glammy mum. I have to be a different person.
Yes, doesn't it? Your body wants to change, your shoulders up, you just totally different person. It's so much better.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. We do get into character. What footwear we're wearing or what costume we're wearing, and it is interesting, but at the end of the day, comfort is key.
And I think that's what's happening now. I'm trying to find trendy sandals that are actually got, some form of comfort instilled in them somewhere, because I can't do the heels, and comfort means so much more to me now.
Now, for me too.
Yeah.
I mean, I was telling somebody that I just squeezed my feet into a pair of fine shoes while I was at university, even though I was a size 6, because I just didn't want to wear size 6 shoes. Because I was tall and I had big feet, and now I'm happy enough to wear size 7. I don't care. As long as my feet are comfortable.
Absolutely.
But it's interesting how we do judge people on their footwear.
Yeah, and that's, it's funny because when I met my husband, the first thing I did was look at his shoes, because it tells you a lot about the person. And I think it's my mum. My mum had always instilled us that you judge a man by his shoes, because depending on where he is, what environment he's in, he would wear the right shoes and the right footwear for it. So it says a lot about that person. So my mum always had that, and so I think it was, and I subconsciously, I think, still do it. And I don't possess so many shoes now, but I can't help buying them for the children. So my love for shoes is not there for me, but it's my kids are well kitted out. They've got their shoes, and and I do make sure that when we go to places, their shoes, so like the other day, my mother-in-law doesn't live very far from me now, so they've moved more closer, so it's literally a couple of roads away. So I said, I want to go for an evening walk. Who wants to come with me? So my youngest and my son put there, Mum will come with you. So it was quite chilly at night. So, I wrapped her up, put her shoes and trainers and everything on, and my son had his jacket, hat, gloves, everything on, and we're walking, and I said to him, like, stop, let's just cross the road. And I looked down at his feet, and he's wearing his flip-flops. And I said to him, you are fully wrapped up from head to toe. From head to knees, really, because his feet, and I just assumed that with him being that wrapped up, he had his trainers on. And he said it was the only thing I could quickly find. So, it's bizarre, but, and the irony is, he can run in them, he can do all sorts, I'm still a bit wary about wearing flip-flops and sandals and running in them, I'm comfortable in them, but I think twice about running in them. But he was happy to run, and it was only when we crossed the road and I looked down, I thought, it's me, he's wearing flip-flops. But that's, that's kids for you, isn't it? He was trying to get a shortcut. I want to go quickly with Mum, so that was the quickest thing he would find. So, coming back to the project, listeners, if you have just tuned in this morning, where have you been? I have the lovely Shemiza with me this morning, and we are talking about her project that she's running for women in the community called Walk a Mile in Her Shoes. Now, we've talked about shoes and how shoes affect us. I wanted to talk about the idea of walking and how this is a project, as well as identifying antisocial behaviour issues and things that are going on in the community or journeys that women have personally faced. How do you think, especially walking in a group setting, how do you think this would promote healthy mental well-being?
I hope so, quite a lot, really, because I think this is what a key component in the actual project is actually when we do the workshops, we actually invite the ladies that are participating, this is a woman from the age 16 plus, to come on a walk with us. And the purpose of that is for them to kind of also give me an insight on why is it, if they are regular walkers or if they're not regular walkers, what is the reasoning for that? So, and mental well-being is key here because walking, getting outdoors has such such an impact on our physical and mental well-being. It kind of just releases the right dopamines and it also gets you just focusing on something else rather than all your troubles. And it allows you to ground as well. I don't know if you know the term grounding, just grounding or earthing. I'm a hiker. I hike, I walk, this is a thing that I do. So I see the benefits in that, and I really want to encourage other women to kind of get out and just challenge themselves. So we are just walking a mile, but I'm hoping that won't stop there, that those that are not regular walkers will walk further than a mile. And hopefully that kind of starts spinning the wheel for more opportunities. But that particular walk, that mile, is really important in the project because it also encourages the women to kind of just maybe have the opportunity to experience what it's like to walk in a group setting. Now, it can be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think walking on your own is one thing because, you have all these thoughts going through your head. You're just constantly thinking. But when you walk with someone or walk in a group, you tend to do more than you anticipated. When you're on your own, you really are, God, every step counts, and you are really pushing yourself to get through that mile. Whereas when you have company, and if it's good company, and it's, like-minded company, absolutely. And, you before you've even known it, you've done a mile, and then you are able to push yourself to say, let's, and I have seen across the town, which I think is really nice, because I do the school run, and, I'll drive past the local parks, and, I'll see mums on a mission walking together in groups, and I feel really happy seeing that, because, I watched this video of a doctor explaining the life of her mother, and she said there's this lady who has 3 children. She gets up, she dresses them, makes their packed lunch, drops them off to school, comes back, then has her in-laws, and she takes them to their local social clubs, drops them off, comes back, does the housework, and she's robotically doing this daily until she gets diagnosed with breast cancer. And the doctors have said it's stage 4, and she had very little time to live, little time to herself. She passed away within 2 months. And after she'd passed away, I think about 3 months within her passing, her husband had replaced her with a taxi driver for the children to take them to school, a cleaner to clean the house, and the taxi driver was dropping the parents off where they needed to do. So she was, and the doctor was saying that this lady was replaced so easily for what she thought she was, really pulling herself out for, doing everything for the family. There were things that she could have just delegated the taxi driver to do whatever needed to be done, arrange for a drop-off, pick-off, however. But she put herself out. And so she was just, her message was that I just want women out there to put themselves first. And it's not just about, I've got to take it, which, our roles are to raise the family, be at home, but it's also about putting yourself forward. Absolutely. I want you to think about that, Shemiza, because we're going to go over to a short commercial break. But before we do, I just want you to think about how this project, I know it's early days because you've only just launched it, how this has helped you reflect on that. And so, listeners, we are going to come back after a short commercial break and listen into Shemiza's answer on that while she ponders on that one. But listeners, if you have any questions, do message into the studio number 07779 481 822. We are heading over to a short commercial break. Anyone wanting to find out more about this project, stay tuned. But for now, go refill your hot brew or whatever it is that you're having with me this morning and join us after a short commercial break. Assalamu alaikum.
This program will continue after the break. Continue listening to Inspire FM. Inspire FM. Inspire 105.1 FM.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته وبسم الله. قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم: أحب الأعمال إلى الله أدوامها وإن قل. That the most beloved action to Allah is those which are regular, even if little.
How many times have you needed urgent medical supplies but don't know where to go? At Harris Pharmacy, we take pride in delivering a high-level healthcare to our community. This is why we have services such as private one-to-one consultation, free prescription ordering from GP and delivery to your home, mobility aids such as providing wheelchairs and many other items for everyday use. Call us today on free phone 0800 458 2850 to discuss your medical needs. We are open from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday to Friday and 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturdays. Harris Pharmacy, 165 A Street B, Dunstable Road, Luton.
Attention drivers! Needing tyres? Granger Tyres has got you covered with our tyre fitting service. Plus, our mobile tyre fitting brings the shop to you. But that's not all. We offer MOTs, wheel alignments, vehicle servicing and repairs, TPMS diagnostics, and replacement batteries, exhausts, brakes, air conditioning, regassing, and number plates. Call 0800 999 2123 or visit rangertyres.co.uk for bookings. Ranger Tyres, your one-stop shop for all your vehicle needs.
আপনি যদি সোশ্যাল হাউজিং এ থাকেন এবং একটি সমস্যা আপনাকে ঘুমহীন রাত দেয়, তাহলে জেনে নিন আপনার অভিযোগ কিভাবে শোনাতে হয়। কারণ আপনি যদি আপনার বাড়িওয়ালার কাছে অভিযোগ করে থাকেন এবং আপনি তাদের চূড়ান্ত প্রতিক্রিয়াতে খুশি না হন, আপনি হাউজিং অম্বাসম্যানের কাছে আপনার অভিযোগ নিয়ে যেতে পারেন। তারা নিরপেক্ষ এবং আপনার বাড়িওয়ালাকে ব্যবস্থা নেওয়ার নির্দেশ দিতে পারে। প্রত্যেকের একটি নিরাপদ ও সুরক্ষিত বাড়ি প্রাপ্য। আপনার অধিকারগুলি জানুন। ভিজিট করুন gov.uk/social housing।
ग्रेस्टोन सोलिसिटर्स जो कानूनी मामला को सुलझाने, आपको हक दिलवाने, आपको हर तरह का तहफ़्फ़ुज़ फराहम करने और बेहतरीन नताइज हासिल करने में मुख़लिसाना हर मुमकिन कोशिश करते हैं। मसला कोई भी हो, इमिग्रेशन, एम्प्लॉयमेंट, फैमिली लॉ, पर्सनल इंजरी, मेडिकल नेगलिजेंस, सिविल लिटिगेशन एंड हाउसिंग, इमिग्रेशन मसाइल को सुलझाने के लिए ग्रेस्टोन सोलिसिटर्स पेश कर रहे हैं फ्री इमिग्रेशन ड्रॉप-इन क्लिनिक्स हर जुमे। टेलीफोन 01582 343 453, एड्रेस 275 Dunstable Road, Luton, LU4 8US। कानूनी मसाइल में इंसाफ के लिए आपको हम सफर। Losing a loved one, especially a mother or father, could mean losing access to safety, education and shelter. We here at Crisis Aid believe that children in the world deserve a better chance at life. Your small donation can influence a big change. Donate today. www.crisisaid.org.uk/orphan fund or call our donations line 0333 305 5000।
खुशहाल है। कुछ लोगों ने कार का एक नया तरीका अपना लिया है। वो आपके घरों पर इंस्पायर एफएम और दीगर चैरिटीज के नाम पर चंदा मांगने आते हैं। इनको खुशबू देने से पहले इनका आईडी कार्ड या फिर इस चैरिटी से रब्ता करके तसल्ली कर लें कि कहीं आप गलत शख्स को रकम तो नहीं दे रहे। इंस्पायर एफएम कम्युनिटी अवेयरनेस मैसेज।
From the studios of Inspire FM, the time is now 10:14.
Good morning and Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to Mother's Planet. It's Friday 13th of December and the time has now just gone 10:30. You are listening to myself, Neelum, and my guest Shemiza this morning. Assalamu alaikum. We have been talking about her project, Walk a Mile in Her Shoes. Now, we've talked about shoes, different types of shoes, and how shoes change our attitude and body language. And we've even addressed the importance of health, mental well-being, and how walking can help. And I mentioned earlier in the break that, there's lots of women in the community now I see, and, pat on the back to them that they are dropping the kids off to school and they are going out and clearing their minds and resetting themselves so that they can start their day on a different note. Now, just before the break, I asked Shemiza the question about how co-hosting or co-leading an initiative like this has influenced her own perspective around mental health and well-being.
Thank you so much, Imana, for allowing me to share this.
She's on the wrong show, listeners. She's obviously the wrong show. Right.
This is my radio. Thank you, Neelum. Lots of love, Imana. Oh, goodness me. If you follow the OpenCube show, guys, you'll know this is how I roll. I'm a little bit quirky, a little bit confused at times. Thank you so very much. A project like this means so much to me because I'm actually kind of privileged in the spaces that I work and the work that I do because I'm able to maximize things that I'm passionate about. And working has made such a huge difference to me in my life. I've been able to do challenges that I never would have imagined doing or even thinking of, say, 2 or 3 years ago. And what I found was when I started doing the park run, it kind of encouraged me that, hey, I can do this. I can. It just takes one foot after the other. It just takes one step. And nothing has stopped me since. And that's what I kind of wanted to bring onto this project, that as mothers, as working women, as stay-at-home moms, there is so much that we are having to contest with. We're always playing all these different roles for everybody else, but we really don't give ourselves enough credit, and we don't give enough time for us to take some respite. And I think a lot of it has to do with guilt, that we've not been educated or told that you can take time out for yourself. And it's really important we do so because you gave such a hard-hitting case study of a mother that gave her all, a wife that gave her all, a daughter-in-law that gave her all. And it pushed her to the brink of, unfortunately, losing her life to cancer. And you spoke about how easily she was replaced. And yet, it was okay for the husband to kind of like delegate those roles to other people, to outsource. But why couldn't it have been done when she was alive? Because there's an element of shame, there's an element of guilt that, wow, you're the wife, you're the mother, you're the daughter-in-law, you should be doing this. Why are you doing it? But we don't realise that the way our families are now, they're not right. The family structure is very different to what it may have been 20 years ago, where you had a village bringing up a child.
Yes.
Right? Now we're having, in-laws living far away, family, the husband and wife kind of like living on their own. So you don't have that support. So grandparents can get involved as much. Some families still do. It's amazing. There's lots of families that don't. So women feel that they have to do it all. And because we've been taught that we should, that's culturally or religiously or just, society perceives that, this is your role, you should do it. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to step out that role and take 15 minutes to yourself. Take 20 minutes to yourself. Take half an hour. Take an hour. But take the courage to do so.
Yeah.
Because that little bit of courage that you've taken for yourself can make such a magnitude well-being and your health.
Yeah.
It might bring down your cortisol level.
Yeah.
It might even help you with your diabetes if you're struggling with that. It could even help you with, just if you've got a migraine. This knowing, it's actually educating ourselves that it's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's okay. You can do it. You don't need to have anybody else's permission. As long as the children are looked, you've got somebody to look after them. Just you won't know until you ask. And I think in the South Asian community, a lot of women don't have the courage to ask. Just do it.
Yeah.
A healthy mind, a healthy body will make such a difference in your home. A happy wife is a happy life, as they say.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, as always, do take medical advice.
Yeah.
Because it could be quite impactful on you physically. You do need to get medical advice. Whatever we say on the show, please do. These are our own opinions. But I just feel, for me, when I did not know what self-care was. For me, I was always doing projects for other people.
Yeah.
Doing things for other people. And when I'd actually stopped swimming, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this feels amazing. I'm doing this for me. It was like a light bulb moment.
Yeah.
It was like, ding!
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, I've never felt this good.
Yeah.
I've actually done something for myself. But the ripple effect of that was, my daughter's like, oh, mommy, wow. My brothers were so proud. My mother's always been a big advocate of exercise, of getting out there. She even put money in my bank account saying, do not stop your swimming. I do apologise, but I've kept it up.
Yeah.
Because she knows that the latter part of my life, how important it is to kind of keep your body moving. Now, I did my last hike, I did a hike recently. I went to Buckingham Beacon's Four Waterfalls. Absolutely gorgeous. With the charity, Muslim charity, I hiked with them. Brilliant setup that they have. And I did Ben Nevis, walked Ben Nevis in July. I've not done anything until, say, September. What happened was my joints started aching. I got very, very nervous and very anxious. The reason they were aching, I thought, I'm not going to be able to do this 10 miles that I'm going to walk with Muslim charity. It's because I haven't moved for a while. My joints have got stiff. I thought it was. I felt as if I had an MOT. It's because I spent a couple of good 6 weeks not moving to the extent I had moved, and I was getting worried, is this my age? Am I getting arthritis? What is it? So the lesson for me is keep moving. Maybe that's why. And a lot of us, when we get a little bit older, or we've seen our family members when they get older, they complain about it. It's premature. I feel it's premature is because you're not moving. So see that as a lesson. I learned from that my gosh, I need to keep moving because I've moved so much and I stopped, and that's why I'm moving. So just need to move it. Absolutely. So in that instance, I'm taking all that onto a project like this because I want women to just take the first step. This is just an opportunity to then create those conversations. We're talking about issues that are impacting us. We're gathering women together in the community to maybe build friendship groups. We're also learning some creative writing as well. And we're just working together in unison.
Yeah. And I guess this is a real good stepping stone for those women that have not taken that opportunity to, and I remember when I had my youngest, she was a lockdown baby, and, lockdown had a huge impact on many people, but, I felt hugely sorry for myself, and I didn't want to go out, and I remember my husband was taking the kids out, and he'd asked me 100 times, are you sure? I was like, no, I just want to stay at home, just make sure she's okay, and I'll just stay at home, and I did that for, and I'd say about 8 months of her growing up, until it hit me that I've not actually stepped outside the house. I haven't pushed the buggy outside. I need to go out and I need to just do, and it was taking that first step. And then, my husband, big shout out to him, he was very supportive in that sense that he made it, because I was very lazy. I'd say, oh, leave it today, it's bad weather. He's like, jumper on, let's just go, put your jacket on and let's just go. And, you know, we were out there, and he said 15, 20 minutes, just go around the blocks and you'll be fine. It will just clear your head. And I can't even explain how much more better I felt for it, but it's pushing yourself to that. So I'm really hoping that the women that are tuned in this morning are listening to you and your campaign and thinking about this project and thinking that actually, yeah, you know, I need to take that push and, you know, I need to do this walk. So, you know, I guess one of the questions many people must be thinking about the walks is, you know, how are these tailored? How are these, you know, structured? Because, you know, we have many that have certain areas of the town they don't want to walk in, or, you know, but walking in a group, as we mentioned earlier, is a lot different than walking on your own. So how do you promote safety and, you know, make these walks warm and welcoming?
Yeah, you've just said something very significant, just keeps the project. Why would we walking? Why are they finding some parts of town unsafe? That's what we want to find out. We want to find out what are the barriers. What is it about antisocial behaviour that's turning you walking across this way, walking across that building, or avoiding a certain area in the park? Is it because there are animals there? Is it because there are cars that are watching around it? What is it? So in order to make this safe, it's firstly we're looking around because the workshop is being held in Road Park. It's in Central. We're going to be walking from through Road Park all the way up to town, coming back in a loop, and then coming back to Venue Central on Newgrove High Street. And so because that's where the workshop is being held, and we'll be walking together, and we'll just, you know, do that journey. Make sure you've got your trainers on. Make sure you've got, you know, waterproof clothing, and that is the Luton one. And Dunstable will be around like Dunstable Central Library. It will be there'll be a walk around there
Because there's all public open spaces and areas that everyone in the town will be familiar with.
It's familiar, and familiarity is key because we want to identify what are these areas that you're familiar with. You know, but you might be avoiding. Tell us more about. So Dunstable Library is we're going to be doing workshops in January in Dunstable Library, and also in Bedford as well as two areas in Bedford. Workshops and walks as well.
Wow, amazing. So tell me a bit more about the workshops, because, you know, we know that the idea is to get women out there to walk, clear their heads, clear their minds, you know, and address any issues that they might encounter in these walks as well. You know, they might be out there and say, this is what I'm fearing, or this is what I'm not liking. So it's all being echoed, and, you know, and many women are speaking about it. But the workshops, what are people to expect around the workshops?
So we've already started the workshops in Luton, which is in Unit 3 at the Britannia Estate building there. And the workshops are 2 hours, so it starts 11 to 1 o'clock. And in those workshops, they're free. And we have a worksheet that will then help you kind of correlate your ideas and thoughts, and it'll be creative writing. Because I'm working with a phenomenal award-winning producer and writer called Joanne Hudson-Matt. So we'll be doing creative writing with her. We'll be talking about things that are impacting you, and then we'll then turn that into doing a poem or just a short piece of writing, which then will be recorded later date. We're also going to have guest speakers. So last week we had some community police officers who brought lots of goodies, and these were 2 female police officers who work in the community, and they had brought lots of items that they gave away free in order to help women feel safe. So they had like alarms, mini alarms, which is quite interesting, and lots of other gadgets that they brought along to give away. And we envisage having other guest speakers, like somebody who is, for example, who is a coach and is an award-winning Muay Thai boxer. She's just extraordinary. So
she's part of my journey too. You know, she pushed me. She pushed me to get active. So yeah, she's an amazing lady.
So for the 2 hours, it's conversation,
Mhm.
it's writing, it's tasks, it's speakers.
Mhm.
So there's a lot going on.
Mhm.
And as well.
Mhm.
So we do have a session
Mhm.
this Sunday, sorry, at 10 to 11 to 1 o'clock. 11 to 1 o'clock is the right. They are free.
Okay.
It's always good to book.
And they're happening.
They are happening at so the Bentley Central building.
Yeah.
You go to the car park.
Mhm.
You won't get that
Mm.
this Sunday. So park around that area.
Mm.
You'll
But it's
see
Sunday, so yellow lines are fine. Single yellow lines are fine. Parking shouldn't be an issue.
and we've got the main doors, which is leads you into the building as well as steps all the way to the second floor.
Okay.
Space in those doors.
Right. Okay.
So if people want to kind of contact me, Shemiza at outlook.com,
Mhm.
you're very welcome to inquire.
Mhm.
And that's Shemiza at outlook.com, or you can contact us by me.
Mhm.
If you've got any, key concerns about social behaviour,
Mhm.
you want to participate in the project, come and join us. You don't have to
Mhm.
I'm more than happy because I think it's about having courage, isn't it, to talk about what's impacting people
Mhm.
and know that there's a safe space to do so.
Yeah.
So some people might just do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And I had a question, and it slipped my mind, but it was to do with the workshops. You said this is all free, and so who's supporting and funding it?
So this is funded by Safer Streets Bedfordshire. It's the Safer Bedfordshire Community Fund.
Okay.
So it's funded by them and it's managed by Bedfordshire Neelum Community Foundation.
Okay.
It's also in partnership with Faith in Queen's Park and also Just Purple Presents, which is Jonathan Lett, who's my colleague, co-writer and producer on this project.
Right. So will Jo be with you in the workshops as well then?
So Jo will be joining me in Dunstable,
Okay.
and Bedfordshire.
Okay.
So I'm going to be in, I'm doing the meeting notes.
Yeah.
Doing the
Wow.
if you follow me on social media, all the information on their projects.
How's happening as well. So that's amazing. So we talked about antisocial behaviour at the start of the show, and we talked about how many there were, and we had a list that we were going to go through, and I wanted to touch on that in the later part of the show, which I didn't realise there were that many. You know, you've got the common standard ones.
What do you think it is?
You know, for antisocial behaviour. I mean, it's really when people talk about antisocial behaviour, I always think that it's anything that's going to be negative towards the community. You know, anything that's causing. So, I would say, graffiti on the walls. Littering on the streets. And after lockdown, there's certain areas, we've all gone into this hygiene mode now as well. So if the bins are overflowing, or, if the bins aren't being emptied, or people are throwing unnecessary things in the bin, or, unsafe things in the bins, and you can see a lot of these, little bottles that are, all these little teens that are using I've forgotten the laughing gas bottles. That's it. They're everywhere as well. And it's quite dangerous because if that were to get into a hand of a young child that's walking, they wouldn't know any better. They're colourful. They're steel. They, look very appealing. So children would pick them up. So, anything that's unsafe that's just scattered around. So, I guess they're my relevance there.
You just mentioned something that I hadn't thought of.
Mm.
Has such an impact.
Yeah.
And it's understanding what people's understanding of what impacts them, what is a nuisance to them. I think that's so important.
Yeah.
Because you could be walking and you might avoid a certain road or a certain part of that road because it has those little posters on there.
Yeah.
And we don't want the money for sorrows, avoid it. So it's like, why are we avoiding? Why are we avoiding this root, this understanding that? Now, what's really important to understand, I don't have the answer to this. I'm just getting experiences of people to share in this project. But you have kind of names of you. Others are vehicle abandoned, vehicles are abandoned, vehicle uses or inappropriate use. It's like, things like street cruising. You've got rowdy or inconsiderate behaviour, which refers to general nuisance behaviour in public places. You've got rowdy and nuisance neighbours, is included as well. Littering or drugs, you spoke about that. Animal problems. Yeah?
Yeah, there's a lot of fox around. It'll just keep people in, yeah.
This comes in a situation where animals are creating nuisance or people's behaviour associated with use of animals as being antisocial. Trespassing, you've got nuisance calls, you've got street drinking, you've got what else is there? There is carpooling, you've got nuisance noise, begging is what?
Yeah, I think people do avoid areas because, sometimes it can get a bit overwhelming. You don't want to, that was the one that actually, I know I do. I avoid areas. I think there's just going to be too many of them around. So it just puts you off walking there because sometimes they're not genuine and you don't want to not give them anything.
One thing that I've noticed on my Facebook at the moment, which is kind of been a nuisance,
Yeah. And there's a time frame for these, but I can hear them going off at midnight. So that's not necessary, and that's again misusing them.
And so I think that might be a popular one in meeting. That might come out as kind of something that everybody is looking at. Because in the worksheets that I do, we ask people what their understanding of such behaviour is, but also identifying, what are your top five? And can you suggest something that is not in the list that you've seen there, and which will be quite telling?
Yeah.
Somebody said dog poo.
I went for a walk last week, Thursday, and it was quite a long walk I went for, and it was drizzly. It wasn't raining or anything, but I was shocked as to how filthy the floor was as I was walking, and this was to Luton Town Station and back, and I came home and I made it a strict rule. No shoes in my house, so when you come in, take shoes off. And so when I walked in, I was actually washing my shoes before I even came in because it was me being really mindful about my, I'm being present in my walking. Let's see how it is. And I couldn't believe how much I had to dodge. So yes, I think that can put people off as well. Now, I'm conscious of time, Shemiza, because I could talk to you forever, but we are running short on time, so I'm just trying to look at the key questions that, one of the things that you touched on is the idea of the project is to, find out, like you said, even asking me, off the top of my head, I was giving you a list of things that I classed as antisocial behaviour, addressing these and people, opening up and telling you or sharing within this workshops. So what is the, they are going to be, told as stories, into poems, into creative artwork. But what will there be a positive to this? Is there going to be something? Well, okay, now we need to really improve.
Of course, because it is funded by Safer Streets Bedfordshire. The feedback will be going back to them. There will be a report that will be addressing this hopefully, and we're going to be showcasing all our findings in an exhibition, which will be hopefully at Dunstable Library for International Women's Day. The exhibition of the photographs and the shoes with the stories and the findings. So there's a legacy there, and then this will be an audio animation as well, which we featured too. So we're hoping that our findings will go back to Bedfordshire Luton Community Foundation and Safer Streets Bedfordshire.
Okay, brilliant. Now we've got about 50 seconds left of the show. Any participants that want to join, is there a contact web page? I know you shared your email.
Yeah, so I'm going to resay that, Shemiza@outlook.com. Just email me and I'll send you the details because it might be easier to do that. if you contact us at Inspire Plan or even Neelum,
Mhm.
know that you've got the link.
Yes.
There is a link, a booking link with all the dates.
Brilliant. Shemiza, thank you so much. And I know it's early days. Yes, get my name right. I know it's early days of the project, and it already sounds like it's kicking off, and it sounds like a lot's going on. And I wish you the very best with the project, and I'm going to be looking forward to this outcome that does happen next year. So, listeners, please remember the team and myself and Shemiza in your du'as, and Friday blessings to everyone. Assalamu alaikum.
And what do we ask Allah? Allah allows us